The sun is shining in western Massachusetts as the calendar has flipped to April, which means CAA play has arrived, and we kick things off with a terrific one. The Delaware Blue Hens coming in at 6-3 so far this year, visiting maybe the hottest team in the conference at this point of the season, the UMass Minutemen, winners of 4 in a row. And with that, we welcome you. Alongside Brendan McDaniels, I'm Travis Eldridge. Brendan, what a way to kick off conference play for us on LSN with our CAA Game of the Week. 2 teams we expect to be in contention at the end of the year for maybe that AQ coming out of the CAA.
Yeah, you can't get much better than this. Delaware, UMass. Delaware, the defending champs. UMass on a 4-game winning streak, one of the hottest teams in the entire nation. And they've been doing all their damage at home on Garber Field where we're at today. This is going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, Delaware, of course, the regular season champs. They want to punch that ticket at the end of the year in May, but obviously a grind of a CAA slate to get to. But if this offense continues what they were doing in non-conference play, they're going to be tough to stop. Mike Robinson, J.P. Ward, and Ty Kurtz combining for 66 goals this year.
Yeah, this group has been absolutely outstanding. Start and stop with Mike Robinson, the preseason CAA Player of the Year, but you mentioned J.P. Ward, Kurtz. I mean, these guys go deep in there. You can also put Clay Miller in there as well. This is a team that can score a lot of goals, and they can do it very quickly, too.
On the UMass side of things, we focus in the cage. The guy that's going to be trying to stop those guys, Matt Note, coming off a big game in an upset win over Brown last weekend.
Yeah, he was absolutely huge. Did not give up a goal in the first quarter last week. Really shut down a high-powered Brown offense. He is second in the CAA in save percentage, second in goals against average. He has been outstanding. Another one in the long line of great goaltenders that have come through UMass.
And you flip to the other end of the field, and we have a freshman, a fresh face that has been in goal for the Blue Hens over the last couple of weeks, especially in Paul Reedy. 2 weeks ago when we saw him here on LSN, a key part in a win over Hopkins on a Sunday night, a career best 12 saves in that one, gave up 17 goals last weekend. Not a game for him to remember against Villanova, but in talking with head coach Ben DeLuca, it was a Wildcats team that was shooting out of their minds in an 18-13 victory last weekend. So that one that he certainly didn't put anything on Paul Reedy in that loss. For the Minutemen, this UMass bench is looking very different. We'll talk about that for head coach Greg Cannella in his 28th season, as we are underway, and the initial faceoff is won by UMass back, and they get it back to Matt Note, and now they'll look to clear.
Yeah, and just one of the things that you were talking about with Reedy and that Villanova game, and I thought that Coach DeLuca made a great point. He said they were just hitting coffee cans in corners, and he was just talking about how pinpoint accurate Villanova was on their shots, and that's tough for a freshman to try to handle when you're shooting that well.
You have an early whistle here from our officiating crew. There appears to be some confusion.
Yeah, I think this is an offsides call.
On Delaware. Not exactly,
yeah, so
not exactly sure why they stopped playing, because I don't think Delaware ever touched it up, but UMass will get an extra man opportunity here, less than 30 seconds in.
Yeah, I was going to say 27 seconds into the game, and they've already got a man-up opportunity. And so this might be a nice way for UMass to start, because this is a Delaware team. If they score first, they're nearly unstoppable. So it's important for UMass to get off and get that first goal and get some momentum.
Chance for the Minutemen to work it around, but a great defensive play. That's Reed Kurtz, the brother of Ty, playing just his second season with the long pole, who comes up with the cause turnover.
Yeah, he's done a great job transitioning over to a long pole this year, and Ben DeLuca had nothing but great things to say about Kurtz, and obviously we talk a lot about his brother and what he does on the offensive end, but just a great pair of brothers that are coming through Delaware right now.
And we are now back to even strength, so nothing to show for it there for the Minutemen with that first man-up opportunity on the offsides, and now we see this Delaware offense. You mentioned the attack unit in the open, the midfield. Starting midfield, Mark Beta, Clay Miller, and Drew Linkaitis getting the start. Here's Ward with a bounce shot that goes wide.
And this is a Delaware team, and we mentioned it in the open. They're so deep with shooters, and it's so hard to figure out because their attack is so strong, but their midfield, you talk about Beta, he's one of those guys that you got to keep an eye on. He's such a good facilitator from up top.
Minutemen back to work offensively. First time in a settled 6-on-6 set. We see some of the offensive midfielders come on. Mike Tobin, Shane O'Leary, part of that unit, along with James Cadigan. Up at the attack spot for UMass here today, Logan Liljeberg, the transfer from Sacred Heart, along with Kevin Tobin and Gabriel Prosic, as that was a stick that got lifted, causing another turnover.
Both teams feeling each other out so far. Only one shot on goal that we saw. A nice save by the Minutemen, and this is going to be interesting. Is they're going to jockey for position back and forth. These are the top two teams in the CAA, and I mean that's Drexel's in the mix as well. But I mean I think these are the two teams that now that we've seen them play this season are the top two dogs in the CAA right now.
Both these teams have looked impressive at different points in non-conference play. We mentioned the win over Brown for UMass. That was a top 20 win for the Minutemen last weekend on the road. Of course, Delaware has tested itself out of conference, coming off with the win over Hopkins a couple of weeks ago. Played Duke tough on the road earlier in the month of March, as this one is kept in by Delaware, at least on their side of the midfield line, and they get another possession out of it. 27 seconds still to go on the shot clock.
And these are two teams you mentioned. These are both battle-tested teams.
And Mike Robinson, he can shoot him with the best of them in the country. He puts the Blue Hens on the board first. It's 1-0.
Mike Robinson came in as the CAA Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time Player of the Week, and you see just why. I mean, just watch this opportunity for Robinson. I mean, look how far out he is. Great position by the goaltender, and that's just a great shot. He just really froze Matt Note right there. Note was in good position. He saw the ball the whole time, but Mike Robinson is just such a precision shooter that it's hard to save his shots. He's so good at those.
At the face-off X, Caleb Hammett going up against Logan Premtage from Delaware. It's Hammett who wins his second draw.
Hammett and Hockman, they'll switch off a little bit. Greg Cannell will go with a hot hand. I mean, they've got two face-off guys that are really excellent at the X.
Yeah, Zach Hockman, a second-team All-CAA performer last year, has had a lot of success over the last couple of seasons. However, Hammett was a guy who was in the mix last year for the face-off spot until he got injured. So now you're back to a real two-headed monster at the face-off X for UMass.
And that's tough for teams because when you can control the X, and especially in the college game, you control the X, you control the game. And when you've got not one but two guys that can dominate at midfield, it's just huge. And that's why a lot of UMass's success is because they've been so good at the face-off X this year.
This bounce shot sent wide.
And this 4-game win streak that UMass is on, 3 of those have come at Garber Field. They're so good on their home turf this year.
Yeah, undefeated. They've yet to lose here at Garber. 4-0 on the year. This is Gabriel Prosic, the Canadian. Terrific there on the crease as it gets back out to Breo on the top. Looking back over the middle. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Tobin inside. That went off the post. Resets the shot clock. But who does the backup go to? It stays with UMass. So they get a fresh 60.
That was very close.
A fresh opportunity as that run to the sideline was a close one. Edge given to UMass, so they keep the possession on the backup of the shot off the post. Now Mike Tobin, the midfielder. He and his brother Kevin, 2 key offensive pieces for the Minutemen once again this year. Got their man hung up at X. And that pass just too high. And it's over and back. So Delaware a chance to maybe go unsettled here if they can get things going. Minutemen did well to get back.
Yeah, give credit to Reed Kurtz, the junior defenseman. He was right at the goal line extended, not letting that attacker from X get anything. You saw he was getting happy feet from behind X, and he was trying to force the issue, couldn't get anything, and Kurtz held his ground. That was excellent defense right there. It's not going to show up anywhere in the stat book, but that was a huge change of possession for the Blue Hens.
On the run, that's Cam Accioni. The sophomore from Ontario has been a bit banged up, but good to see him out on the field today. Down on the doorstep, tough angle coming from goal line extended, and it is Accioni. It's his 6th of the year, and it's 2-0 Blue Hens.
Accioni the beneficiary, but this is great offense by Delaware. They're keeping the ball hot. Get a touch, move the ball. They got it all the way around from one end to the other. Accioni gets it down low on the left side and finishes that off. But that was great executed offense right there. Keeping the ball moving at all times, keeping the defense on their heels, not allowing them to set and not allowing them to get their slides over correctly, and Delaware gets the goal.
Another face-off win for UMass. They're 3 for 3 at the X today.
Delaware goal scored by number 45, Cam Accioni, assisted by number 20, Jason Cole.
But the Minutemen have been unable to take advantage of the dominance at the X so far. So looking for that first goal. We were talking to Greg Cannella earlier this week. I asked him, this is a UMass team that likes to get up and down. They're known for their transition game. And I asked, can you run with Delaware? He wasn't sure. Well, this works out pretty well. It's Tobin, Kevin Tobin, the grad student. Fiery as he gets the Minutemen on the board.
Kevin Tobin's ears must have been ringing listening to you, Travis, saying how hot Delaware got off to the start and said, hold on a second here. And just UMass, an important goal for them, because we mentioned how quick Delaware gets up and how they run away from teams here. You see Tobin, he splits his defender. Before the slide comes up, he's able to get his hands free and get the shot off and pop that one in. That is a veteran move by Kevin Tobin.
Kevin Tobin is such a shifty guy. If you are a high school lacrosse player, you want to watch the way Kevin Tobin plays the game. He is feisty, he's fierce, he is a terrific competitor. At just 5'6", 170, he plays a lot bigger than his size. He is just a fun guy to watch and the type of guy that every coach wants to have on his roster.
Yeah, he's just a gritty guy. And he's going up against guys half a foot taller than him, sometimes outweigh him by 50 pounds, but he is absolutely fearless.
That shot was deflected on its way to Reedy. Nicely done there to play it forward. And now an opportunity in transition for Delaware. The low shot goes. Number 2 for Mike Robinson on the first quarter.
So smooth in transition for Delaware. They didn't get the ground ball cleanly. Instead of just trying to sit there and play with the ball, the defenders flipped it forward, made sure he got some space away from the defense. Right here, just a nice flip, got it away, gets it up to Mike Robinson. You got an unsettled situation. You say Mike Robinson and unsettled, it's usually going to end in a goal.
CAA Rookie of the Year last year, as well as a first-team All-CAA performer. Of course, his real freshman year came in that shortened season back in 2020. Guy who scored 9 goals against St. Joe's in a game last year, so you know he can fill it up. As the Blue Hens get a face-off win, Kurtz off the wing.
Mike Robinson, he's one of those guys who's going to be up for All-American at the end of the year. He's put on the Twarton watch list. A couple days ago, they added a few names to that. So, I mean, this is a guy that's starting to get the recognition he deserves because he is one of the top players in the entire country, not just the CAA.
Well, and we were talking about it a couple of Sundays ago in that win over Hopkins. Not only is he one of the best goal scorers in the country, he also plays wings on faceoffs. So
yeah, he's one of those guys that can do. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Travis.
Yeah, so he'll score the goal and then he goes back to work at the faceoff dot.
And we got a moving screen right there, turn over to UMass. And that's huge. I mean, that's just invaluable that you got a guy who goes out and is your leading scorer, but he'll go on the wings and he'll go mix it up and get some ground balls for you up at the midfield. That's just absolutely huge. You very rarely see a guy like that be willing to take that additional role on a team.
Delaware wanted to go quickly. The officials are going to bring him back. Ty Kurtz had a wide open net. He was just waiting for the whistle, and he was just going to toss that past Matt Note.
He was trying so hard, and I was like, they're not going to blow the whistle right now, are they?
Shot clock issues, and now Delaware sails one on the pass. And so after the UMass turnover, as they were struggling to get it over midfield, now Delaware returns the favor. How about that play at midfield? UMass keeps it. Right place, right time for the Minutemen. But this hounding ride of Delaware. It was Joe Spears
coming out so aggressive, and you love to see that. You're on the road, you're against a team that's on a 4-game win streak. They've been lights out at home. Go up and put the pressure on them. I love the game plan by Ben DeLuca.
Of course, one of the guys to watch, 81 in blue and yellow. Just named a midseason All-American. Owen Grant by Inside Lacrosse, and it's deserved. He's been terrific so far this year.
And they expected him to be. He was preseason Defensive Player of the Year as well. I mean, they knew coming in that he was going to be one of the top dogs.
That one eaten up by Reedy in the cage. Tobin got by his defender, but he couldn't beat Reedy, the goalie.
Reedy's had a couple nice saves in this first quarter so far. See his stats there at the bottom of the screen. We mentioned he had a big game against Hopkins. He struggled against Villanova. He's a freshman. You're going to see that. But Coach DeLuca was telling us how much they love him, how hard he's been working. And I mean, he unseated a starter from last season in order to take this job. And they've said, listen, everybody's out there competing for their jobs no matter what year you are. And if you're a freshman, you can go out and get that job if you work hard enough.
Here's Mark Beta back to Ward. Defense didn't find him, and Ward finds the back of the net. Let's make sure it counts. Gonna see if he was in that restricted arc. It does. J.P. Ward with his 20th of the year, the sophomore out of Maryland, makes it 4-1.
We mentioned all the goal scorers and all the playmakers on this Delaware team. They go so deep. And here's Ward. Takes the pick. Look at that. Nobody covering him. Beautiful job. Pick and pop for J.P. Ward from behind X. When you leave him all alone, he's going one-on-one against the goalie and puts it home. Nice play by Delaware. We've seen a lot of different offensive sets from Delaware in this early going, and they've done a great job of keeping that UMass defense really on their heels.
There's some confusion there at X. Sam Eisenstadt went with the ball carrier, and it left Ward open after he set the screen. Another face-off win, though, for UMass. Now trailing by 3. Under 5 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Travis Eldridge, Brendan McDaniels with you. Our CAA Game of the Week on LSN. Been a hot start for Delaware. Mike Robinson a pair. J.P. Ward just got one. Cam Accioni the other goal scorer. Kevin Tobin the lone goal for UMass so far. Tobin, a guy who had to slide up to attack with the injury to Chris Conley, whose season looks to unfortunately be done way too early once again. Conley, a quarterback of this UMass offense throughout his career, but another injury derailing his season. Here's Prosick, bounce shot eaten up by Reedy.
Chris Conley, such a huge loss. Grad student veteran on this team, has just had an outstanding career, but you said you get hit by that injury bug, and it's tough. And Tobin's done a nice job moving up into that offensive position and really taking ownership of his new role with this team.
And you look at UMass, maybe the only head-scratching loss they have this year was that loss to BU. That's where the injury to Chris Conley happened. It happened around the midway point of that game. So you look at that result, losing 16-7. The only real outlier that we've seen from this Minuteman team so far, and it may explain a few of the offensive struggles.
Well, and that's a tough thing. When you've got a guy like Chris Conley who goes down in the middle of the game, psychologically, it really kills you, and you've got to make some mid-game adjustments that you weren't planning on.
How about Matt Note, back-to-back big saves?
Absolutely huge. Note's really been peppered in this first quarter, and he needed those back-to-back saves to give himself some confidence and give this defense a little bit of a boost. Gave
up a juicy rebound, but he made up for it because he made an even better one on the second shot. Here comes UMass, and they answer at the other end. Tobin again, he's got 2.
And that's a result of the great play by Note at the back end, the goaltender making back-to-back saves. Give your defense a little pep in their step. Get the ball over in transition, get it in on offense, and let Tobin do his thing. Just another outstanding play by Tobin. comes down, gets in the middle of that defense. Like he's got 5 blue hens all right in front of him, but you know what? Nobody got on his hands, and he got the shot off. Watch, you see that again. Everybody was there. Nobody got their hands on him. You let a guy like that get his hands free, he's going to get an opportunity.
And Hammett won the face-off, but he throws it away right into the Blue Hens bench here at Garber Field. And so Delaware, well, that'll go down as a face-off loss, ends up what should be a possession for the Blue Hens here.
And a rare mistake by Hammett. He's been really outstanding this season at the face-off X.
And Hammett coming in 55.5% on the year at the dot, along with 52 ground balls. Won 80 face-offs coming into today. 52 of them, he's picked up the ground ball as well.
Trying that 2-man game with Ward again. This time the defense held their own and did not leave Ward by himself.
This is Beta, now back to Ward at X. Really filled in that Charlie Kitchen role as the X-attackman for Delaware after Kitchen graduated. Got a flag down, so a free opportunity here for Delaware. Get a chance to see their man-up unit likely for the first time here. Ward out to Kurtz. Skip pass behind. Beta has it with the short stick on him. Squeezed inside. Miller went behind the back, ends up right in the stick of Ward. 7 seconds left of the shot clock. Inside, Kurtz gets it. They squeeze the feed in, and Ty Kurtz has his 18th of the year.
We had mentioned Ty Kurtz's name so far in the first quarter. At that time, you got a couple touches on that possession. But how about the behind-the-back shot and the rebound coming out to J.P. Ward? And then you just see a nice backdoor cut by Kurtz. Beats his defender, beats Note. Nice play. That's one of those things that we've seen from Delaware. Their off-ball movement is so crisp. It's so smooth. And J.P. Ward was just waiting. You saw the patience behind X, just waiting for that guy to make that right cut so he could go and feed him.
The goal wipes off the flag, so they just get the goal out of that one. UMass wins another face-off. Less than a minute to go in this first quarter. They trail by 3. Tobin once again working at X. Minutemen, if they want, can essentially hold for 1 here at the end of the quarter. More time on the shot clock than we have here on the game clock at the end of the first.
And that's a good move. I think that's a smart play. Get yourself a good offensive possession. Get yourself a good shot. You don't necessarily, if you don't score, it's not the worst thing, but get yourself a good, strong offensive possession.
Rebound off the Tobin shot. His brother tries to pick it up. I think we got a loose ball push. We do, and so Delaware will get it with 15. No, excuse me, it stays with UMass. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Pass squeezes in. Terrific execution by the Minutemen. It's James Cadigan with his 5th of the year.
The former captain from Colgate gets number 5, and that's a big one with 8 seconds left for UMass. Off the restart, you see the downhill dodge and squeezing that pass inside to Cadigan. That is a great, great pass. Great vision. Cadigan gets himself inside the defense and gets the goal.
Mike Tobin picks up that fantastic assist as we see Zach Hockman at the faceoff X for UMass for the first time today. And that is how this first quarter will end. So UMass able to get one back there at the end of the first, but Delaware strong through 15 minutes here on the road to open CAA play. J.P. Ward as the Blue Hens up by a pair after 1 on LSN. Lax Sports Network, your home for the CAA Lacrosse all the way through the conference tournament. The 2022 CAA men's tournament will be held at Drexel University May 5th and 7th. All 3 games. The semifinals of the championship will be on LSN. Find out who earns that automatic berth to the NCAA tournament live on Lax Sports Network. Back here at Garber Field in Western Massachusetts, the sun is out, about as good as you can get for April or early April in Western Mass, as it's Delaware on the road with an early edge as we start the second quarter.
And that inflatable gorilla's looking good in that sunshine in Amherst.
Face-off win for Delaware, something they have not had a lot of so far.
Yeah, only 2 of 9 in the early going for Delaware on the face-off X. And that's, you rarely see a team be up on the scoreboard when they're getting dominated at the X, but Delaware was able to do it in the first quarter.
You're just joining us, Mike Robinson, a pair of goals for Delaware in that first quarter. J.P. Ward has one as well. He has it now. They got Beta working at X. Gives it up. Robinson stepped out off the pipe. He's not going to miss many of those.
No, you just see how far that clanked back out, almost to midfield. I mean, he really got his money's worth off that pipe.
It resets the shot clock because he hit the pipe, and Delaware, the closest to it when it went out, all the way up near midfield, so they keep possession. Ty Kurtz working for Max, has his step, another one that I think hit the post or Note kept it out.
I think Note got that with his foot.
If you at first you don't succeed, just try again. This time Clay Miller streaking through. He's got his 20th of the year.
The Pennsylvania native with the backdoor cut gets the goal. We mentioned how deep this team is. Nice save by Note right there. The rebound comes out. And here's Miller. Look, caught his defender sleeping. Backdoor cut all alone. Beautiful shot.
The assist goes to Mark Beta, the senior from New Jersey. And Beta, really important piece of this offense for Delaware. We've noticed you see him working from X. That's because he's really been an attackman for a good portion of his career, but because of all they have at attack, he's been moved to the midfield. And we've noticed him inverting here a couple of times so far in this first half, and there's a perfect example of what it can do.
And they have so many different dimensions to their offense. You mentioned the invert. You see that every so often when you bring that midfielder back down behind X and let him create, and you create some confusion defensively when you do an invert like that, and you saw the fruits of their labor with Miller getting that backdoor pass in the goal.
That first midfield unit back on. O'Leary, Cadigan, and Tobin for UMass. Here's Mike Tobin, had an assist in the first half. Sends it behind to his teammate, and that one slides in. It's the transfer, Logan Liljeburg from Sacred Heart, who's got his 11th of the year. He gets one back for the Minutemen.
This game tightening up what we expected it to see. We thought this was going to be a tight game. Coming from behind X. You get that little bit of a screen, and you create that space from the defender. It's not a ton. The Liljeburg with a nice goal. Once he gets that space, he can hit the accelerator and get the advantage and come around from goal line extended and put that one in.
Liljeburg, the grad transfer from Rentham, Massachusetts. A talented piece for UMass to add. He was a first-team All-NEC performer at Sacred Heart back in 2019. You can feel these face-off wins for UMass are really important because you know what Delaware's offense can do. So sometimes the best defense is just not letting them have the ball.
Yeah, create those extra scoring opportunities for yourself. And that's the great thing about lacrosse is it's not alternate possession. You can dominate possession of a game by having a good guy at the face-off X. And we mentioned the two guys that they have, and that makes a huge difference.
Tobin trying to cut through that zone defense. And it's Owen Grant, who's so good off the ground, who comes up with the GB.
Yeah, he's like one of those hungry hippos when you see him on the ground. Whenever there's a ground ball, he is all over it.
Good ride, ends up in a turnover. Here comes UMass. Tobin, going 1-on-3, thinks differently of it. And even the long pull Besides, let's slow things down here for a bit. Matt Wygand settles it back down for the Minutemen.
Yeah, he wanted to uncork that one, but then he realized this is probably not going to end well for me. There's 3 defenders in front of me.
Tobin wanted to go so badly, but as soon as he saw a wall of blue jerseys, the grad student had the veteran leadership in him get the best of him.
The Blue Hens closed out on that quickly on that odd man rush.
Here's Anthony Sorocolo, part of that second midfield for UMass. Tobin down on the doorstep. And I think we got a loose ball push. It'll keep it here. Liljeburg went down.
He does on Kevin Lynch of Delaware, just a little bit too aggressive.
Lynch, a guy who's been back in the lineup the last couple of weeks after missing a good chunk of the middle of the season so far for Delaware with an injury. Good to see him back. Senior from Maryland. Tobin to Tobin, back to Tobin. Now they skip past it behind. Saw the zone defense work pretty effectively against Hopkins a couple of weeks ago for Delaware. Not so effective against the sharpshooting from Villanova last week. Good roll, but Reedy up to the challenge.
Reedy stood tall on that play, got big in goal, made the save. You mentioned that Villanova team. They're back in the top 20 now. A couple big wins under their belt after they got stunned a couple weeks ago by Penn.
Good hustle there on the far sideline by UMass. They caused the turnover, and we have our first time out of this first half. We'll step aside. Delaware with a 6-4 lead. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Travis Eldridge, Brendan McDaniel's back with you here on LSN. You look at this UMass huddle, and it's a different-looking coaching staff for the Minutemen. For really one of the first times in Greg Canella's career, he had to replace not one, but both main assistants. As you see the coaching staff now, Noah Foster, the former Delaware assistant coach and former Delaware grad, along with Kyle Smith coming in to replace Doc Schneider and Craig McDonald. Doc, of course, the legendary goalie for UMass, deciding to take a different step in his career. Craig McDonald getting the head coaching job at Robert Morris. So I was joking with Greg and Canella. I was like, hey, what's it like having a new staff there? And he's like, this is really one of the first times in my almost 30 years here at UMass I've had to replace the whole staff. So a little different situation, but it's also freshened up the coaching room a bit.
It sure has. I mean, with Fossner, he's a former goaltender at Delaware. He's been at Harvard, Boston, Rutgers. He's got a lot of experience. And then Smith, he's a UMass graduate. So, I mean, he knows Greg Canella's system. And, I mean, what a career he had as a coach at Merrimack. I mean, he was part of that staff that won a couple national titles down there at the Division II level as we got a flag coming up.
And we're going to go man up for the Minutemen here coming out of this timeout. But yeah, certainly a bunch of talent. And Craig McDonald now at Robert Morris, 4-4 so far in the year, just coming off a nice win over Drexel last weekend. Mm-hmm. So using his CAA knowledge well in his new job.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you talk about Doc Schneider. We mentioned in the open the long line of UMass goaltenders. I mean, that's kind of where it started. You know, and I mean, he had a great career in the MLL for many years.
Schneider, of course, part of that UMass team that went all the way to the championship game.
Back in 2006. What a run that was.
Man up here for the Minutemen. This is Grant Breo, the midfielder. Now Tobin has it on the wing. Breo stepped out and Reedy went low.
Reedy read that one right from the point. He was ready to go. He got low really quick. Made a nice save, a big one on the man up.
So another missed opportunity for UMass. They had that man up first 30 seconds of the game, couldn't take advantage. Delaware's man down, able to hold up once again, right around 55%, preventing goals on the man down for Delaware so far this year coming in. Been a pretty good UMass man up unit, 40% on the year entering this game, but 0 for 2 so far. Beta backs down his man. Twister shot kept out by Note, but a flag down.
Yeah, Beta's really fighting to try to get that shot off. And this will give Delaware a man-up opportunity.
Yeah, they had Mike Tobin, who is very much a two-way midfielder, a guy that UMass will have play offense and defense if he gets stuck on, but he picks up the penalty for an illegal body check. So a 1 minute man up for Delaware. Greg Cannella pleading his case.
And you mentioned that. I mean, UMass uses a lot of two-way guys, and Greg Cannella, it's kind of one of those things that he was saying, you know, we've got a lot of guys with that ability, and you mentioned Kevin Tobin goes two ways. O'Leary does. Breo does. I mean, they've got some guys that can go at both ends of the field. And then we talked about value. Just increases your value when you can do multiple things on the lacrosse field.
This is a man-up unit for Delaware that can be really, really good. Up around 50% on the year. 15 of 31 coming into this game. When you got shooters like Robinson and Kurtz, it's easy to see why they have so much success. Here's Kurtz from the wing, and he cashes in.
You're just saying about how efficient you can be when you have so many great shooters. Kurtz is second of the game, and when you get these guys in a 6-on-5 situation, you give them a little bit more space to shoot. This is what happens. And you see the UMass defense, they're playing pretty good. They've got some good spacing out there, but Breda draws the high defender up to him, sends it back behind himself to Kurtz. Kurtz with a wide open shot opportunity.
Give the assist to Beta. That's his second assist today. It's another face-off win for Hammond, but he's hounded there for a second. Whistle, though, gives it back to UMass. Should apologize to Mike Tobin. He did not get that last penalty. Instead, it was Grant Breo who went to the box. Don't want the Tobin family to get upset at me.
Yeah, especially when they got multiple Tobins on the team. You've got a doubly chance of getting yelled at for that.
Yeah, and they're a feisty bunch. I don't want to mix it up with Mike or his brother Kevin.
No, they might be on the smaller end, but you don't want to get them in a back alley.
Here is Kevin Tobin. Gets a screen from his brother. Skip pass back out, deflected on its way to Tobin. Out of bounds, let's see. I think that was last touch by Delaware. No, last touch by UMass.
Yeah, no, they're going to say there's no touch there by the Blue Hens, so.
Owen Grant got that stick up, causing some issues.
Well, and that's what he does so well. We talked about him defensively, getting ground balls, playing one-on-one defense, lifting sticks, putting pressure on. Just Owen Grant just does so many great things for this Delaware team, and that's why he gets the accolades that he does. We mentioned he's going to be another one of those guys that's going to be up for All-American at the end of the season.
Yeah, earned a mid-season honor from Inside Lacrosse earlier this week. Beta once again taking his short stick matchup back to X. Now out top, it's Nick Jessup. Makes a couple of moves and he scores. Pretty stuff from the junior out of Tennessee, his fourth of the year.
You do not get a ton of guys out of Chattanooga, Tennessee that play D1 lacrosse, but Jessup, just nice footwork right there. Gets rid of the defender. The slide comes up, gets rid of that guy too, and puts it in. Just great individual effort by Jessup.
Yeah, that first move was really special, and then he uses the stick fake on the second guy, and it's not enough UMass defenders to stop Nick Jessup. Another goal scorer here for Delaware so far today. They've got 6 different goal scorers in their 8 goals they've scored. Look at what the Blue Hens have done so far this year. The loss to Duke, a game they felt like they competed in. The loss to Michigan out in Ann Arbor, a game that Ben DeLuca said was very much a learning experience for this team. They just were not able to handle a Michigan offense that was clicking on that day. And we've mentioned Villanova going off for 18 goals last weekend at a trip to Philadelphia for Delaware that did not end up so well. But you have the win over Hopkins, and this is a Delaware team that is full steam ahead to May, a time of year where they did not have success last year, getting upset in the semifinals of the CAA tournament despite having the #1 seed.
Yeah, and they had their first outright regular season championship in program history last year, and you mentioned they got upended in the playoffs, and that's something that they've learned from, and they've got a lot of veterans on this team. And it's regular season lacrosse and postseason lacrosse are two different things, and when you don't have a lot of postseason experience, those type of things can happen. But it's important, how do you react from that? How do you come back from that? And you see already in this early season, these guys are battle tested. I mean, they've played a lot of tough competition in the in the non-conference season, I should say. And you look at those teams. I mean, Michigan is outstanding. Even Hopkins, who they beat, Johns Hopkins is a good, strong program. I mean, this is a team that really wanted to make sure that once they got into the CAA part of the schedule, that they were going to be ready to roll.
Delaware goal scored by number 13, Nick Shep.
Lock up here at the face-off X between Premtaj and Hammett. Premtaj wins the draw. Loose ball. These two teams really pride themselves on ground ball, so this is a fun battle. Nice move.
Very well done.
And another possession for UMass. So they trail 8-4, but with their advantage at the face-off X, it certainly keeps them in this game despite trailing by 4.
UMass 11 of 14 at the face-off X. And that could help them out as this game goes later on, as they trail, because they're going to have some extra possessions. They're going to be able to wear this Delaware defense out a little bit.
Ryan Fitzpatrick picking up that ground ball. Give him credit where credit is due. Tobin's stick was deflected, but they say that ball was last touched by Delaware. Stays with UMass, still 40 seconds in the shot clock.
Yeah, I believe that was Joe Spears that just got a little bit of that stick that took that shot off kilter.
Spears had a great game against Hopkins as the LSM. Good look. Shot just high for UMass.
Really nice look. Nice shot, just sailed a little bit high. It's a little bit of wind. Not that much, though.
Got Tim Hoynes in there. Another midfielder for the Minutemen. UMass team that's trying to solve this Delaware defense. We've gotten a mix of man and zone from the Blue Hens. Tobin from way downtown. The bounce shot picked up by Reedy. I think he lost it for a second. May have gotten lucky.
Yeah, not a good clear here. He's got to get back in cage. Although we have a push.
Gabriel Prosic got the loose ball push, so Delaware keeps possession.
It did look like Reedy got fooled initially on that shot, but was able to make the save and recover.
That was a veteran move by Tobin, the grad student. It looked like he may have used the screen, all the different bodies in front, to see if he could slide one by from distance. Nearly did.
And that's what you do. I mean, you use what's out there on the field. If you can get a natural screen, go for it. If you can have the goalie blocked, go for it.
Flag down again. Their man up possibly coming for the Blue Hens. JP Ward back to work at X. Took his eyes off that ball, and Miller can't keep it across midfield, so we get the penalty, and Delaware's man up unit comes back on the field. .30-second offsides on UMass. And we just saw Delaware score a man-up goal a couple of minutes ago from Ty Kurtz. Now they go back to work.
30-second penalty for UMass, offside.
There it's Kurtz, Robinson, Miller. So many terrific shooters on this offense. Here's Ward to Robinson. Low save by Note.
Big save by Note. That was a laser beam coming in by Robinson. He scored on one of those earlier in the afternoon, but Note was right there. He read that well.
The defenseman, I think, went in the crease there after he collected it outside the crease, so they give it back to Delaware. Beta, now Ward, Robinson as we're back to even strength. Robinson, another save by Note. Two of the conference's best battling on these couple of possessions. Rebound just wide.
Nice possession so far by Note. Robinson on that second shot. Didn't get the shot he was looking for initially. Shuffle stepped a little bit to his left, got an opening. Wasn't as good of a shot as he had originally, but Note was there to make a save. This is a big possession for Note so far.
Mike Robinson with 5 goals in 2 of his last 3 games. Beta feeds, bounce shot, finds its way through. Just terrific offense from Delaware. Cam Accioni has his second today.
We mentioned there's just so many different guys that can beat you on this Delaware team. Beta comes down, Accioni, backside cut, just beautiful execution by Delaware. They're so patient on offense, and Beta's got such good vision. He just waits for those guys to make the cut. They get themselves open. He makes the right feed, and they get the goal. Just a beautifully executed offense by the Blue Hens.
Another face-off win for UMass. Mark Beta, such an intelligent lacrosse player. You mentioned his attack experience and moving to midfield, but you see, I mean, in this Delaware offense, you can, especially with the short stick matchups he's getting, they're kind of using him as an attackman. He's drawing slides, and it's making things happen. He's now got 3 assists today.
Yeah, they're just really playing smart with him, and they've been using him to his advantage. He's a tall, lean guy. He can get in there, and you saw earlier, he wasn't afraid to mix it up. He took on a triple team.
Mark's brother Scott, a terrific player at Rutgers throughout his career. Owen Grant comes up with another ground ball. Here we go in transition. McCormick, saved by Note.
You saw he had a bunch of long pulls going down in transition right there.
But back to Beta, his brother Scott, not only a terrific player at Rutgers, now an assistant coach for Lafayette under head coach Pat Myers, who has really taken a nice step forward this year. Actually has a win over Drexel, last year's CAA champs here in the tournament. So good to see Lafayette going in the right direction under Pat Myers. A really young team last year, got a little bit of experience and now getting some wins.
Yeah, I mean, the Leopards program, I mean, that's one of those ones in the Patriot League. You can do some damage there. I was actually up at Colgate when they were up there, and I was watching their practice for a little bit. I mean, they've got great numbers there. They've got really, their practice was so structured. It was so nice to just kind of just be able to eavesdrop there for a little bit.
Now, less than a minute to go in this first half. The Minutemen could use another goal like they got right at the end of the first quarter. Trailing by 5, their largest deficit today. Tobin. Liljeburg has it at X. 30 seconds on the shot clock, 33 here to play in the half. Down on the doorstep, couple of fakes. Prosek had it taken away. Spears nearly got lit up as that ball just kind of floated to him. Now UMass has it. Still plenty of time. Jump shot. Nothing there. They keep it. Under 10 to go in the half. Tobin's shot is saved. Nice job by Reedy.
Kevin Lynch did a great job on that odd man rush, just standing tall against the offensive player and not letting him get a shot off.
That one was deflected out over the end line. 1 second left, stolen away by Reedy. And that is how this first half will end. So UMass fighting throughout the first 30 minutes, but Delaware and their sharpshooting just too much. They've got a 5-goal lead thanks to a couple from Cam Accioni. It's 9-4 at the half here on LSN. Back here in our CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network, Travis Eldridge back with you as Delaware has a 9-4 lead at the break. But UMass goalie Matt Note with a pretty good first half, 8 saves so far. And earlier this year, I had a chance to get to know the junior goalie from New York a little bit better. So we are joined by UMass goalie Matt Note. Now, Matt, appreciate the time. You are a Long Island guy, so I've got to ask, your favorite goalie or best goalie that's come from Long Island, because there have been some good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got to look at the UMass one. So Doc Schneider, obviously, Zach Oliveri, and Sean Scanoni are some of my favorites.
I mean, you're just the next line in the legacy. How cool is it to be kind of the next guy who has stepped into that role?
I mean, it's awesome. Dream come true.
Which one of those, what have you taken away from some of those guys who have come before you?
I mean, working with Coach Doc for the past my first 2 years here at UMass, me and him worked a lot together, and I was able to learn so much from him and just take a lot of his game from him.
Obviously, you mentioned Sean Scanoni. He was a first-team All-American his last year there. You then come in as a freshman, and you have to step into his role there in the crease because you started right away. What was that like?
It was crazy. It was awesome, but you just had to put a lot of work in. I had to trust the guys in front of me. They had to trust me, and we just had to play.
You growing up on Long Island, you got some good food, man, there. You got the bacon, egg, and cheese. You got pizza. You got good bagels. If you had to live without one of them, what could you do without? Like, what would you choose?
I don't really know. I don't know.
Pizza or the pizza or the bagels, what could you do without?
I think I could do without the pizza.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. You do have a good pizza place there up at UMass Amherst called Antonio's. They've got all sorts of crazy slices, as most people probably know who have visited. What's the slice, your go-to slice if you go?
I mean, probably just a regular one. I don't really go too often, to be honest.
All right, let's go back on the field now. Favorite save you've ever made, any level?
I'm going to have to go with either one from Yale my freshman year or in the CAA playoff last year against Drexel in the third quarter.
What makes the two of those stand out?
I mean, it was just the Yale one because I had to have my teammates back and just make a play, and I did, and I was able to do that.
When you because I think sometimes, obviously, there are times you read it all the way and you see it and you make a great stop, but sometimes, you got to have some luck on your side, too. When you make one of those saves where, is there ever a time where you're like, I can't believe I just did that?
Yeah, sometimes, but you just have to trust what you've learned your whole life and just play through it and just keep going.
All right, finally, one more for you. Favorite game of your college career? I think I know where you're going to go, but I want to hear it.
I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna actually go with my second game of my career, Ohio State.
Really? Why?
Because coming off a pretty big loss to Army, our first game, we were able to just band together, go into a very talented Ohio State team, and go in there and win. Get my first college win.
Yeah, and hey, that was a big one. You guys used that momentum to go ahead and beat Yale. It's too bad we didn't have a full 2020 season because I had high expectations for you guys that year. High expectations for you guys again this season. We appreciate the time, Matt. Thanks and good luck.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Got the Delaware staff having to make that long run across the field here at Garber. You see the stairs. You have to go all the way up those stairs. You're the opposing team off into the locker room. Takes you about 3 minutes of the 10-minute halftime to get there. But they come jogging back across as we're about set for the start of this third quarter.
One of those hometown advantages from Garber Field and Garber Hill, and just great fan support by these UMass students, parents, alumni. Always a great day at Amherst.
And you see the hill starting to fill up a bit. You're on a sunny April day. Garber Field right here in the middle of campus. It's kind of sunk down. Just a great spot for a lacrosse game.
Yeah, first time I went to Amherst, I almost drove by the stadium and I was like, wait a minute, that can't possibly be it. And sure enough, it was. But then when you get inside, and you're looking from the grandstand on. I mean, they got a nice grandstand here, like we said. People along the fence, along the hill. It's just one of the unsung venues in college lacrosse. If you haven't gone to see a game at UMass, you should really make your way out there. It's such a nice venue. It's easy to get to, and it's a nice area of Massachusetts.
A little chaotic to start this third quarter. Ball thrown away by UMass. And so Delaware, chance for the first offensive set. Clay Miller brings it in. Miller with a goal in that first half, his 20th goal of the year. He's got 4 hat tricks so far this season in 9 games.
There are multiple guys with multiple hat tricks on this Delaware offense. Just can't say enough about their ability to spread the ball around and get a lot of guys involved offensively.
Kurtz off the shoulder of Note. Resets the shot clock as Beta gets the rebound. Another save for Note.
Yeah, had a nice looking shot, but Note is there. Note is, despite giving up 9 goals, he's done a good job. I mean, this is a tough team to defend.
Had so many different options. This time it's Miller from X. Back out top, Robinson. Beta just wide.
Yeah, Beta kind of had a half arm that one. He wasn't able to follow through on that shot because the defender closed out on him. And the ball goes out of bounds, so it's an opportunity for UMass to try to chip away into this lead early in the third quarter.
He gave UMass the backup on that one.
Yeah, rare situation where you did not have a guy for Delaware behind at X ready to chase that shot.
It's a UMass team that over the course of Greg Canella's career has been known for the transition game. But we was talking about this in the first half. Ask Greg Canella, do you think he can run with this Delaware team and all their high-poweredness? And he admitted it's like, I'm not sure. So they've got to figure out some ways here, I think, to execute in the 6-on-6 offense if they're going to come back in this game. Here's Gabriel Prosek. He's been quiet so far today. One of the top goal scorers for UMass with 18 goals so far this year. Prosek near side, just wide.
And you got to give a lot of credit to this Delaware defense, especially in the first half. They did such a good job playing 6-on-6, not getting themselves lost in switches, not getting themselves lost in slides. They were on top of their game, sliding around. And I mean, they didn't really give UMass a ton of really good looks at the cage.
But UMass keeps possession on the backup, but only 13 seconds left to go on this shot clock. Gonna have to hurry. Prosek down low. Good defense there by Kurtz again.
Reed Kurtz has had a nice game so far. Him and Lynch have really done an excellent job down low, complimenting Owen Grant. I mean, these guys don't get as much press as Owen Grant does, but they've had really good seasons individually.
Well, and Kurtz, like his brother, primarily played short stick growing up. Got to Delaware a couple of years ago, and I mean, you see the attack unit the Blue Hens have, including his brother Ty, and so there wasn't space up for him up there. They needed somebody at long pole, so they put a pole in his hand. He's in just his second season with a pole, but he's pretty effective.
And you wouldn't even know that. You would just assume that the way he plays, he's been a long pole his entire life. But it just goes to show you how good of an athlete he is, and he's willing to adapt. And you mentioned that. I mean, when a coaching staff comes to you and says, hey, listen, we know what we recruited you for, but we don't have a spot for you offensively. But if you want to get on the field, here's your opportunity. And he took it. And the same thing with Kevin Lynch. He's one of those unsung guys that doesn't get the press that guys like Owen Grant does, but just comes in with his hard hat, and brings his lunchbox and goes to work.
UMass really feisty defensively on this possession. A couple of rebound chances for Delaware, not able to cash in yet. Accioni, another save by Note. How good has he been?
Yeah, he's done a nice job. As I mentioned, he's given up 9 goals, but I mean, these are a lot of good shooters. He's taking a lot of good shots, and you just can't look at a score and determine whether a goalie played well or not. I mean, Note has had a good game despite all the goals given up.
Yeah, 9 goals against, but 12 saves already. Beta down to Kurtz. He had him right there wide open, and the pass just missed. So another turnover for the Blue Hens. Well, wait a minute.
That's a perfect. Yeah, that should be UMass ball.
No, they're ruling this was deflected on its way out.
Oh, all right.
So apparently that was last touched by a Minuteman. And so Robinson grabs it in the corner.
But that last play was a perfect example. If Kurtz gets that feed cleanly, he's one-on-one against Note. That's hard for a goaltender to do, and he's had a couple of those situations already in this game. That's not easy for a goaltender to navigate.
Beta, once again, trying to take advantage of the short stick matchup he's had all day.
Oh, he's got Kurtz backside. Oh, he didn't see him. He had Kurtz wide open on the backside.
Instead, Ward gets a screen from Beta. Jake Dulac staying with him. Another save by Note. And now a flag down. Jack Gump, the LSM, scooped up that ground ball. Here comes UMass. Transition chance. Reedy saw it the whole way.
This is going to be on JP Ward. It's going to give UMass a man-up opportunity, a big man-up opportunity for them early on in this third quarter. So it's a 1-minute cross-check on JP Ward, the sophomore.
1-minute penalty for Delaware number 1, JP Ward, cross-checking.
So UMass goes man up again here today. They are 0 for 3 so far. See if they can finally crack this defense.
I was just gonna say, this is a crucial moment. You're a 6-on-5. You've got the advantage. You've got to get something. You've been struggling 6-on-6. This is your opportunity to break into this lead a little bit.
Bilgeberg. They play pitch and catch with it, just missed the corner. Backup is there.
Nice looking play right there. Just shot off of the mark a little bit.
Still about 40 seconds of the man up left. Good movement. There, finds it in. Just slid it by Reedy. It's Tobin with his third. He's got a hat trick.
You just get it down to Kevin Tobin. Move, but you mentioned just a moment ago, good ball movement by UMass. You see right on this play, you see the Delaware defense is having to cover a lot of ground. The slide's coming over late to Tobin, and Tobin had already wound up before the slide even came over. He was ready to roll on that play, and that's a big goal for UMass, especially now because they've been so dominant at the faceoff X. Now that the man up is over, they can get possession again and try to chip away a little bit more into this lead.
Tobin with the 5 points against Brown. Now has 3 goals today. Long pull chance off the faceoff. Backup is there for UMass.
Yeah, Reedy's got to hustle back in the cage. In transition, go ahead and try to take that shot. Catch the defense off guard. I like that play. Go out and be aggressive.
Coaches always talk about ball movement on man-up situations, and for any kids watching at home, that last man-up possession for UMass, exactly why. The Delaware defense actually moved pretty well, and they still couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, they had to cover so much ground on that play. Tobin almost had a nice swim dodge right there.
Steady, just lost it out of his stick.
Yeah, I was watching Kevin McCormick on that last man up, the defender. He covered so much ground on that play, and it's hard when you're a long pole. I mean, you got a long pole for a reason, but it's hard when you have to cover all that ground in a man-up situation, and UMass played it perfectly. They kept the ball hot. They made the defense move. They made them have to cover a lot of green space until they got to the opening that they wanted to, and Kevin Tobin got the payoff.
Here's Accioni racing out of the box. Kurtz, tough angle. Nearly hit some of the fans up there on the hill. Look out.
Yeah, one of them's got to run for cover. Got some kids over there in the corner. They're like, maybe we might want to move this picnic over here.
I got somebody go to get the ball up there. Went way up the hill. Accioni going back to work. He has been feisty today. A couple of goals for Delaware. Accioni, we mentioned with some of the injuries, but he was terrific last year as a freshman. Here's Ward. Good recovery by the UMass defense.
Yeah, he wanted that inside roll. They didn't give it to him.
Shot from Jessen way off. 7 seconds left on this shot clock. And Delaware will just send it to the corner with the shot clock winding down. Shot clock violation for the Blue Hens. Now here we go, a little bit of an opening for UMass. You score, you get a stop. Can they string a couple of goals together?
If you do, you get another goal or two, you make this a game. You put a little pressure on Delaware. They haven't scored in a while.
James Cadigan, the midfielder, racing in. Joining Shane O'Leary. He has it on the near side wing. O'Leary has his step. Good trail check. Ball's still loose, and Owen Grant nearly made a terrific play. Now his teammate Lynch will grab it.
This defense for Delaware has been on point all afternoon. They've done a great job being aggressive, going after the ground balls, lifting sticks, not allowing quality shots by the Minutemen.
A shout out to Josh Baer, the short stick D-midi. Made a great trail check, number 11 in blue, to steal that possession, but UMass gets it back here. Tobin. The ball works behind. Prosic, great skip pass, but better save. Reedy went pipe to pipe.
Absolutely huge save.
But it's stolen away. Great ride and a score. Shane O'Leary did it all. He gets the cause, turnover, the ground ball, and a goal.
Great individual effort by Shane O'Leary. And that's why you ride after the play. Chasing the ball down, gets the check, scoops up the ground ball, gets a fake, aims far side, shoots near side, big time play.
Shane O'Leary, one of those guys that Greg Cannella references being a two-way guy, kind of that Jeff Trainer mold we've seen, the UMass All-American over the last couple of years, as a flag down on the face-off after UMass won it. So Delaware's going man up here. But O'Leary, the sophomore out of Massachusetts, showing you some glimpses of what could make him a really, really special player.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jeff Trainer. I mean, that old number 31. I mean, that's what made him so good as a Minuteman over his career, is his ability to be a factor on offense, but also to be a little bit of a pest on defense, on the defensive end. And you see, when you get guys that have the ability to go two ways, we've talked about a couple times this, you add value to your team when you can do multiple things. That's why Jeff Trainer was so valuable, and you had to watch out for him. You had a game plan for him on offense, you had a game plan for him on defense, and you had a game plan for him on clears and rides. I mean, just an all-around package, and it's hard when a guy has so many different skill sets.
Trainer, of course, now playing in the PLL with the Archers. Man-up unit here for Delaware. Kurtz lost it for a second, but they regain it. Now the defense is in trouble. Beta steps in. Robinson, another save by Note. He's got
huge save.
14 today.
He has had a big quarter here in the third quarter. UMass can put another goal here, make it a 2-goal game before we go into the fourth quarter. It's a game because they've been dominating at the face-off acts. They've been getting those extra possessions.
Only one goal for Delaware in this third quarter so far. UMass trailed by 5 at the half. Excuse me, no goals for Delaware. They trailed 9-4 4 at the half. UMass, the only 2 goals of the second half so far. Looking to add to it here. This is Liljeburg. Back across, Breo! What a feed from the Sacred Heart transfer. Grant Breo is first goal, and UMass is back within 2.
Well done by the Minutemen, and they are back in this game. Breo just sitting on the backside. Watch 17. Just sitting there. Look at him, just waiting. Patient. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Boom. Easy. You cannot get an easier goal than that. Breo did an excellent job getting right on the crease, holding his ground, waiting for the feed to come. They've got the defense pushed to the other side. Breo with the easy goal.
A 3-0 UMass run, and the Minutemen are right back in this thing in the third. Well, the Minutemen starting to feel it here in the third quarter at Garber Field. Beautiful day in Amherst, Massachusetts. They're on a 3-goal run to cut it back to a 9-7 game with 3:45 to go in the third. Travis Eldridge, Brendan McDaniels back with you here in our CAA Game of the Week on LSN. Greg Cannella has to love the effort here in the third quarter from his team.
Yeah, just an outstanding effort by his team. I mean, defensively, they've been playing well. Note's been doing a great job in goal. And the offense, they've been finding ways to chip away at this defense. And you see a 3-0 run here by UMass in this quarter. It's been big, and they're controlling the X here. So that's another sign that they're still in this game. I mean, if they can put one more in and make this a 1-goal game here before the fourth quarter, you're going to put a lot of pressure on Delaware.
Hammond, another face-off win. He ends up on the turf, so he throws it back. But UMass can go back over the midfield stripe for the first 20 seconds of the shot clock, so no problems keeping possession here. And this is where that face-off dominance by the Minutemen can really come into play. Now 15 of 19 at the X today.
Getting those extra possessions is huge. And we talked about it. At some point, those extra possessions pay off. And you're seeing that in this quarter. All those extra possessions have netted them 3 goals in this quarter. And really, I mean, you think of, you think about it. I mean, Delaware has not had the ball. I mean, look at time of possession this quarter. They've not had the ball a ton this quarter.
Here's Liljeburg. Set up that last goal with a really pretty assist. Looking here, got him again! This time it's Anthony Sericolo, the junior from Albany, New York. It's a 1-goal game.
Great backdoor cut. They've been finding the Delaware defense sleeping a little bit these last couple of possessions, and the backside has been open every single time. Watch the cut. Look at the defense. They're not watching the backside cutters at all. Just a beautiful screen, catch and shoot. Well done by the Minutemen. And they've really started to pick those holes in this Delaware defense a little bit. And what was a blowout is now a 1-goal game.
This ball loose off the faceoff, scooped up by Kevin McCormick for Delaware. So they get a faceoff win. The Blue Hens needed it. Looking for their first goal of the second half. Chesson shoots wide.
They're there to back it up. But you're right. We talked about UMass has had a lot of possession time in this quarter. We haven't seen this Delaware offense operate all that much this quarter.
And when they have gotten shots on goal, Matt Noda has been fantastic. Now 14 saves for the junior.
And a lot of big ones in this quarter alone. Keep his team in the game.
Beta backs down his man. He draws help. Now Ward, and he airmailed Kurtz. He had him on the backside. It just came out of his stick wrong.
Yeah, that was just a funky one. You kind of flipped his head back right away after he threw that and knew that he gave one up, because Kurtz has had the backside a couple times in this game, and they haven't been able to catch him. He's got 1 goal from it, but he easily could have had 4 goals today with those backside opportunities.
The long pole, Ryan Fitzpatrick out there on offense for a second. He was racing in there saying, hey, I'm open. But UMass will settle it down here with under 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. Game has drastically changed in the third quarter. A 4-0 UMass run. On the wing here, it's O'Leary. Now Tobin.
They should send it back down to X. They've had a lot of success that way.
Low high shot from Tobin is off. Just under a minute to go here in the third.
A lot of success for UMass has been that backside, those backdoor feeds. They've been catching Delaware sleeping. I would work behind X on this possession.
They're going to make him go all the way outside the box. The officials are like, keep going, keep going.
He just sticks his hands up. He's like, how far out do you want me to go? I'm practically on the Delaware bench.
Gabriel Prosick's going to get his steps in today. They've got Prosick there on the far side, just off of the pass, and it's a turnover.
That's what they want to look for. They just get, unfortunately, they turn the ball over. Now for Delaware, you can get something in here last 35 seconds or so.
Beta had a lot of success in that first half. 3 assists. Did a really good job drawing slides and then creating opportunities for his teammates. See if they go to that here.
As I said, let's see if they try the two-man game with Ward.
Out top, Kurtz, saved by Note again.
Note has been right on it in this quarter. He's been outstanding.
And that is how this third quarter will end. Matt Note having a terrific frame. He's got 15 saves in all. He's given UMass a boost, a 4-0 run for the Minutemen, including this beauty. Little backdoor cut on the backside here for the Minutemen. And they are back within 1 as we go to the fourth. A 1-goal game as we start the fourth quarter here on Lax Sports Network in Amherst, Massachusetts. Delaware a 9-8 advantage as we start the final 15 minutes, but held without a goal so far in the second half as it's a 4-0 UMass run as they are back within 1. Travis Eldridge and Brendan McDaniels back with you on LSN. UMass has dominated the face-off X, and they continue to do it here. Another face-off win for Hammond.
Big opportunity here early in the fourth quarter. If UMass can tie this game up, you put all the pressure on Delaware, who struggled in the second half.
There it is from distance. Grant Breo from way downtown. We're tied at 9.
Was surprised Breo even shot that. Didn't really have a good look. Was really far out from the cage. Take a look at this again. You see that huge alley, though. And Delaware didn't think he was going to shoot either, and Reedy was just caught napping a little bit.
That was almost from 2-point range. You talk about the PLL. That was way downtown, and now a violation on Premtage for Delaware. And so UMass a chance to take their first lead of the day.
This game's going to go nuts if UMass takes the lead after what they went through in the first half.
A 5-0 run in the second half. Delaware has not scored since halftime.
And UMass has been able to dominate time of possession with those face-off wins, taking second and third chance opportunities off of initial shots.
Delaware back in the zone. They had some success with this zone defense in the first half, but UMass has solved it a bit here in the second. Tobin, pass back across, and that one pulled high by O'Leary.
Yeah, they've taken some deep shots these last couple of minutes. I wonder if they've noticed that Reedy has been struggling on long distance and they're trying to make that a focal point. That was something they adjusted at halftime.
Skip pass to Tobin is low. He did well just to short hop that and keep it in front of him. It's like a catcher trying to block a pitch. Streaking through, a save by Reedy. Right off the shoulder, resets the shot clock. Tobin, another save. Liljeburg laying out to back that one up, and it's a fresh 80, or should be a fresh 60 on the shot clock. Yeah, and they're going to fix that. Now we got it.
Yep, there we go. Big saves by Reedy back to back. Good shots. He was able to knock those away.
That right there, one of the reasons the freshman is in cage. He's a big body, 6'4", 200. Very much like we saw from Matt DeLuca, the goalie for Delaware, who was an All-American candidate a couple of years ago. Similar stature, and he really eats up a lot of the net. You see what kind of advantage that brings for the Blue Hens.
Absolutely, and Matt DeLuca is one of the all-time greats. No relation to Ben DeLuca, by the way. A lot of people just assume that they were related because both DeLucas being at Delaware. But yeah, Matt DeLuca was a big body, 6'5", 6'6", 225. Now is with the Water Dogs of the PLL. But you mentioned that Ben DeLuca, that was one of the first things he said to us is he said, this kid's going to remind you a lot of Matt DeLuca. He goes, I'm not saying he's as good as Matt DeLuca at this point, but he says he's going to remind you a lot of him.
Couple of big saves here, but UMass keeps the possession. Still 20 seconds on this shot clock. Got a couple of resets off those big saves. Inside! UMass has a lead. Tim Hoynes, his 5th of the year, his first of the day.
Those outside shots have gotten UMass back in this game. Hoynes this time, the beneficiary. Starts in the middle, just backs himself up and gets him to a spot where he can keep his hands free for a simple catch and shoot. Was kind of fading away a little bit as he shot that, but he was able to beat Reed low. Reedy just couldn't see that one. And just like that, UMass, their first lead of the day.
Now a face-off win. Quickly inside, a shot there from Hammett, saved by Reedy. Now Delaware back the other way. See the Delaware scoring drought. They have not scored since there are about 3 minutes to go in the first half. And this UMass team who came in, maybe the hottest team in the CAA, winners of 4 in a row. The hottest team on this field in the second half. That one finds the side of the cage.
Yeah, that was not a good angle for a shot right there. It was forced a little bit by Eccioni. And now UMass has the ball back, and they've got all the momentum in this game.
It's Matt Cadigan, the short stick D-Midi brother of James Cadigan, the offensive midfielder. James waiting to come on here, along with his midfield line mates of O'Leary and Tobin. Trio of points between this midfield unit so far today. A couple of goals and an assist. Tobin. Back out top to his brother. Mike Tobin falling down.
Yeah, he might have hit his head.
Here for the corner. Who gets it? Looked like Liljeburg had the edge, and they give it to UMass. Good feet inside, and one off the pipe.
So close. They had Reedy beat again. That one clanks right off the pipe.
That's been the recipe for success for UMass. Those quick cuts inside and flashing guys in front when you're feeding from X. Tobin. Tobin now all the way back on the near side of the crease. Skip pass back out top. Breo high. Breo is feeling pretty good about himself after he scored that one from about 16 yards out. Deflected, and he put it in! No, he was in the crease. Tobin can't believe it.
Oh, we're gonna have to see a replay of that one. That was a beautiful play, but he was in the crease.
He even got the horn going in the stadium. Oh,
this place would have went
too
bananas
bad.
had that counted. Oh,
So it stays a 1-goal UMass lead as Delaware and Beta will get the possession here. What hand-eye coordination that was from Tobin. He's a Massachusetts kid. Sure, he played some hockey in his day, and that was a hockey-type play there from him in front.
yeah, just so well done. Just a shame that didn't go in. This is where Delaware has had success, is working from X.
Beta trying to use that size of his to back down his defender. Just off.
Like to see Beta and JP Ward do the two-man game back behind X. That worked for him a couple times in the second quarter. They really haven't gone back to it too much.
Ward, near side, they finally got one. Beta draws the flag as well. Delaware ties it at 10.
Remember a couple moments ago where I said you should use the two-man game with Beta and Ward because it works so well? That's exactly why you do it right there, because those two work so well with each other. Watch this on the reset. Here comes Ward. Gets a pick right there. They leave Beta wide open. He's got a sharp angle. He got popped before that. So he takes the hit, gets the goal. That's what we were talking about. That's what their bread and butter was in the second quarter. That's how they built their lead, was through that two-man game.
The goal wipes off the penalty. Another face-off win for Hammett. Goes behind the back, nearly gave it up. That's one he will hear about on his way back to the sideline for sure.
Yeah, your net's wide open. You don't want to send the ball backwards, and you don't want to pass it in front of your own crease when your goaltender's not in there.
Note skipped it into one of his players. Shot clock resets as Delaware gets possession. The ball's now loose again. UMass has a beat on it. They try to push it forward. Owen Grant, how about the ball handling skills there from the long pole?
What a shock. It's Owen Grant that ends up with the ground ball after all that scrum at the midfield position.
One of the best in the country.
If you're Delaware, you want to go back to the well, go back, send it behind X, play that two-man game. They haven't been able to stop it.
That last goal for Delaware, their first of the second half. Does it open up the wells again for them? Jessen already has a goal today, goes back to Ward. Couple assists and a goal today for JP Ward for Delaware. Wide open, Note saves it again. Beta, it was like he was so open he wasn't sure what to do with it. And the backup goes for UMass. Long pass for Note. That was dangerous. Like a pass over the middle of the field by a quarterback. Get your guy laid out there, but his teammate makes the nice play, and now a possession for UMass at a tie game. Man, is it good to have CAA lacrosse back.
I mean, what a way to open up the CAA season. 5 games on the schedule for everybody in the CAA this year. This is the first one to go. What a great game so far.
Screen set, near side, a save by Reedy. And Liljeburg is there for the backup.
Left wide open on the doorstep.
Reedy now up to 16 saves. It's a new career high for him. Ten seconds left on the shot clock. And I think we got a moving screen.
Yep.
Good defense. And Owen Grant says, I'll take your checks, Mr. Tobin, but they're not going to bother me.
Yeah, Owen Grant's 6'3", about 220. He's not worried about your checks.
Oh, and Grant, a grown man playing defense for Delaware. Blue Hens try to take the lead back. Robinson, he's been quiet since the first half. Back to Ward, another save by Note. Up to 18 on the day.
Note has been playing a really strong game. This is another. He's been just making great save after great save. Robinson wanted to uncork one a few moments ago. Let's see if they try to get it back to him.
Jessen matched up with Tobin, nearly took it away. Now back to Beta. Pulled that shot wide. Ward there, though. And they keep possession. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Pass a little off for Robinson. He goes all the way to the corner to track it down. Beta, Jessen, pass low for Kurtz. How he handled that was incredible. His shot is eaten up by Dulac. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Kurtz still has it. Net is open. Shot wide and a shot clock violation.
Nice defensive stand by UMass. Note came out, got a little aggressive at the end, almost cost them, but the gamble paid off as Delaware not able to get a shot off as the shot clock expires.
This is the great thing about here at Garber Field. You see that hill on the far side starting to fill up. It's when everybody on campus starts to know there's a good one going on. All tied at 10, under 4 minutes to play in Delaware and UMass to kick off CAA play. Another screen set for Max. Tobin. Another save by Reedy. That was a tough angle.
Yeah, there wasn't really much of an angle right there. Forced the shot, and Reedy was able to make a really nice save.
Oh, and Grant brings it across. He can handle with the best of them, so no hesitation bringing that into the offensive zone. And now we get the offensive midfield unit on for Delaware. Now 3 minutes to play. Once again, it's Beta.
Got Robinson in space.
Shot deflected on its way in. Back up there is JP Ward. Now Beta, 20 to operate on the shot clock. 4 points today for Mark Beta. Trying to get another. Gets that left hand free. An awkward shot that's wide. 9 seconds left on the shot clock for Delaware. Ward, quickly. Trying to get a hand free. Eisenstadt, great defense and another save. Matt Note up to 19 stops.
Big save, and Note was jumping up and down after he sent that clear off. He knew that was a big boy save.
Now UMass has a chance. Have had only one lead in this game at 10-9. Trailed 9-4 at the half. They used a 6-goal run to take the lead. Here's Tobin. And the pass too high for Prosick. 90 seconds to play, and Delaware will get it back.
Who's going to win this one? This has been a great second half. Excellent comeback by UMass. Delaware hanging in. Now Delaware with the opportunity to win the game. JP Ward has 2 game-winning goals. Breida has one. Clay Miller has one. Mike Robinson has one. So you got a lot of options here
As
if you're Ben DeLuca's team.
Delaware calls the timeout. There's about a 10-second difference here in how much time we have on the shot clock, and then an extra about 10 seconds on the game clock. So if you're Delaware, obviously you want to go and try to get an opportunity, but there's also part of you that the more time you take off, even if you don't score, at least UMass doesn't have an opportunity here at the end of regulation. If you're Ben DeLuca, Brendan, what are you talking to your team about in this huddle?
What I'm looking at right now is, you mentioned there's 9 seconds differential between the shot clock and the game clock. You have struggled on the faceoff. You do not want to score too early. So, and then the problem is that when you get in overtime, if it goes to overtime, you haven't been good that on the faceoff. So you want to figure out how you can get this clock down so you leave UMass the least amount of time possible to go ahead and execute their offense, whether it's on a turnover, a shot clock violation, or off the faceoff right now. But what you're looking at, the two-man game has worked for them so well between Ward and Breida. I would go back to that. I would move the ball around, spin out the defense a little bit, see what they're giving you. So you got two options. You do the two-man game with Breida and Ward, or you try to look and see if you can get Robinson involved with a shot from up top on the backside. Those are probably your two best options right now. Or if you want to get extra creative, then you try to get Kurtz in. Kurtz has had a couple opportunities on the backside, on the left side of the field. But if it's me, I'm doing that two-man game between Breida and Ward, and I'm seeing what those guys can do together, because that has worked for them, particularly in this second half.
I do want to go back to a couple of minutes ago. UMass on that run, they had a really good opportunity. It was a ball that was deflected in by Kevin Tobin, kind of a hockey deflection. They waved it off for a crease violation, but you think about how big this goal could have been. Let's take another look at it. You see Tobin here was off the restart. There was a deflection in front off the pipe. And how about the move by Tobin? But they ruled that his stick was down in the crease before it crossed the goal line, so it was waved off. So we are tied at 10, Delaware ball. And we are just about to tick under a minute to play in regulation. Blue Hens holding on to it. They got 50 seconds on the shot clock. About a 9-second differential here at the end of the game, but it's clear they're going to try to take this down a bunch. When do you go?
I'm going to go at about 25, 30 seconds at this, because you want to give your offense enough time to operate, because, again, you've got that differential on the shot clock and the game clock. So watching another about 5-8 seconds, watch them to go and start working it around.
Here's Jessen with it. Breida's out top here, as is Accioni. 25 they go. Jessen has his step. Now Ward, Robinson to pass a little off for him. Robinson has it stripped. Tui takes it away. UMass, 10 seconds to go in regulation. Note will send it the distance. Loose ball in front, just high.
Oh.
That would have been spectacular. 3 seconds to go in regulation, and UMass takes the timeout with they have possession. Matt Note just sent it the length, and I think it was Tobin again. The craftiness in front. He's the guy who wins the 50-50 ball, and he nearly puts it in. Let's take a look at this.
And smart play by Note. Time's running down. Let's make a play here. Get the ball back to Note. He understands. Listen, we got 10 seconds left. I'm going to chuck this baby down, see what we can do.
Oh,
yep,
so
right
close.
In front, just very close. That would have been an insane way to end the game.
It was Prozic. Yeah.
Yeah, Prozic had the beat on it. And right now, you've got to. Right now, this is the whistle's going to blow. You can take 1-2 steps. You got to fire off a pass and let someone shoot deep. And you think that Prozic or Tobin is going to be the one to take this.
Remember, in this UMass second half run, a lot of these goals have been feeds from X to cutters in front. Delaware has had a tough time keeping track of all the different cutters UMass has been throwing toward the crease. That's exactly what they have to do in this situation. They've had success at it this year, or here today.
Yeah, this is interesting because you're coming back deep behind X. We'll see where they start him off. So he's going to be about 10 yards behind the cage.
You got Tobin, who will trigger it in here. They're gonna run some screens and just try to get somebody open in front. They get it in front. Does it count? No, he was in the crease.
Oh, no.
And we have overtime. Oh.
2 crease violations in this fourth quarter by UMass. Inches away from winning it. Let's watch it again. They got exactly what they wanted. Throw it on goal. Oh,
I don't know how that doesn't count. It was Cadigan.
We got to see that again. I agree with you, Trout. I don't know if that's a crease violation. I mean, you got to remember, they're looking at it in real time. We're getting the benefit of a replay here. That is really close.
Well, nothing deciding this one through 60 minutes. We got extra lacrosse in Amherst, Massachusetts. Tied at 10 as we head to overtime when we come back on LSM. UMass, oh, so close from winning it with 3 seconds left, but they wave off the goal by James Cadigan, ruling it a crease violation. So we have overtime as we kick off CAA conference play here on LSM between Delaware and the Minutemen. Minutemen win another faceoff. They have been dominant at the X today, and they'll get the first possession of OT.
This is where UMass has dominated the entire afternoon. They've won 20 of 25 faceoffs.
If you're just joining us for the overtime session, you have missed a heck of a game. Delaware led 9-4 at the half. UMass then went on a 6-goal run to take the lead. Delaware with just 1 goal here in the second half, but enough to force OT. Minutemen looking for their 5th straight win. This is Kevin Tobin. He's got a hat trick today. Slipping down there is O'Leary. About 20 seconds left here in the shot clock on this first possession of overtime. Liljeberg has his pass deflected. Loose ball scooped up by Delaware. Really well done there by Joe Spears, the LSM.
Yeah, Owen Grant was in there as well to create the turnover. So Delaware dodges a bullet by not winning the faceoff, and now they have an opportunity to win it.
Matt Note has been so good for UMass in goal. 19 saves here today. He's been a big reason why Delaware only has 1 goal in the second half.
Well, we talked about that in the first half. We said, hey, he's given up 9 goals, but he's played really well. And you saw him stand on his head in the entire second half because he made the adjustments.
Accioni feeds. Now Robinson across the top. Back to Accioni, down on the doorstep. Saved by Note, number 20.
Note has just been on his game, especially in the second half, and now that big one in overtime.
Long pass ahead. He has been on point with some of those clearing passes. We saw the one there at the end of regulation, nearly got him the game-winning goal. So another possession for UMass. We'll get the essentially second line midfielders out there for the Minutemen. Breo, Hoynes, Sericolo racing on. Now they go behind. Breo, a pair of goals, both in the second half, including one from way downtown. Now Hoynes tries to swim by his defender. And he scores! Tim Hoynes wins it for UMass. His second of the day.
What a comeback by UMass. They were dead in the water at halftime. It looked like Delaware was going to coast to an easy CAA opening victory, but Matt Note, their goaltender, absolutely amazing in goal in the second half, and a big save in overtime gets UMass the ball back. They get the win. They dominated the faceoff backs, 20 for 25 between Cole Hammett and Zach Cockman. That was the big difference in the game, and we mentioned throughout the first half that was going to come back and play a role in this game, their absolute dominance at the X. And you saw today getting those extra possessions. That's what led to that comeback in the third quarter. They inched their way one by one, and then they took the lead momentarily in the fourth, got it tied up, and now UMass, 5-game win streak, and they have been absolutely lights out at Garber Field this year.
Tim Hoynes came into this game with only 4 goals on the season. Well, he's got 2, including the game winner today. Another look. Tim Hoynes just beats his man. He just wouldn't give up. UMass winners will recap this one when we come back. An overtime victory in Amherst. Travis Eldridge and Brendan McDaniels back with you here on LSN to recap our CAA game of the week. 11-10, UMass winners in overtime, their 5th straight victory. They're 5-0 here at Garber Field. What a performance by this Minutemen team in the second half. They went from trailing 9-4 at the half to coming from behind, having chances to win at the end of regulation, and then winning it in overtime.
Just a great resilience by UMass. They didn't play well in the first half. I thought their goaltender Note played well despite giving up 9 goals. Their defense wasn't awful, but their shots just weren't falling in the first half. They made some adjustments at halftime. They got some more guys involved offensively in the second half, and they were able to chip away little by little at that Delaware defense, who played a really good game in a losing effort. And we mentioned it seems like we're a broken record with the faceoffs. You very rarely do you dominate the faceoff X and don't come away with victories. They're 20 of 25 at the faceoff X. That is just absolutely huge for them in this game, and it paid the difference because that's what got them back in this game. Those extra possessions were so huge for them. And Matt Note, what can you say about him? He made 20 saves off of 30 shots, and a lot of those in the second half. He had to do a really, really acrobatic job on some of those saves to keep this team in the game. And then at the end, in the regulation, he almost got the assist that won it for the game. They were just a little bit off on that shot that he sailed that pass down the field. Just an outstanding effort by the junior goaltender.
And how about Tim Hoynes, a guy who coming into this year, a senior from Connecticut, who had just 1 goal. Well, he had 4 goals coming in here this year, part of his senior year here at UMass. And he is the guy that scores maybe the most memorable goal of his Minutemen career. The game winner.
He is going to get all the free pizza he wants in Amherst tonight. What an excellent shot. Watch this individual effort right here. He tries to swim dodge, doesn't get it. Tries to spin, doesn't get it. Doesn't have a lot of room to operate, but puts the ball on the goal and says, let's give it a try, and gets the goal. That is not a rocket that he ripped right there. That was just an average speed shot that he just put on goal. Let's see what happens, and it ends up going in.
A memorable one for Tim Hoynes, a memorable game for UMass. They come from behind to beat Delaware. Once again, your final score in overtime, UMass 11, Delaware 10. Thanks for watching our CAA Game of the Week here on LSN. For Brendan McDaniels, I'm Travis Eldridge. We say so long from Amherst, Massachusetts.